marched out of their homes and into the streets, led revolutions, and ruled nations. Where is a woman's place in the new millennium?
Women's jobs are all important, that being a homemaker is important, that being a secretary is important. So important that men should have both those jobs too.
Taking power and using it. Now Gender Power in 2000.
And we focus this hour on women, or more specifically, women in the workplace. The gender gap in employment opportunities is narrowing, but a United Nations survey finds women worldwide still earn about 2/3 of what men make. On average, women in the U.S. earn 76 cents for every dollar that a man makes. In Canada, women earn about 80 cents to every dollar that a man makes. And there's still a way to go for women to crack that so-called glass ceiling to the upper echelons of major corporations. Today, we'll talk with 3 women who have made headway toward narrowing that gender gap: feminist Gloria Steinem, labor executive Amy Dean, and businesswoman Mina Patak. We will ask our guests to stand by just for a second. Before we talk with them, we want to introduce you to several women around the world and tell you their stories of struggle and triumph in the workplace. You're about to meet a 50-something lawyer in New York, a 49-year-old carpenter in Johannesburg, South Africa, and a 31-year-old Muslim journalist in Jakarta, Indonesia. First, the lawyer. That story from Marina Hinojosa.
The biggest female role model was my mother. She was a wonderful mother. She was a homemaker. She was home with her children all the time.
Susan Karten was a lot like other little girls in the 1950s.
I really didn't see professional women in the groups that I went with.
She never dreamt about a career.
They called me Susie.
But then Susie became a secretary for a powerful judge. And like a lot of 60s women, she suddenly wanted more.
The judge had people come in from all political stratas, very famous people, famous lawyers and famous judges and famous politicians, and he would say, "Sue, you prepare lunch." And I would say, "Okay, as long as I can sit and listen." And I listened.
And what did she hear? If you want to make it as a lawyer in a man's world, you've got to be tough.
No, I'm sorry. It's a gross miscarriage of justice. It's simply poppycock, Judge. Simply poppycock.
There was no stipulations, there were no exonerations. There's just going to be a check delivered to us.
It was hard. It took 2 law schools, 2 jobs. She finally graduated in 1983 at 31. Then Karten, like other women in her generation, pushed herself into a profession full of men. She became one of New York's most visible personal injury lawyers.
Susan's success has really said loud and clear that we have a lot of gifted female lawyers who are as able, if not more able, than the men in the courtroom.
Look right into there.
The records, I think, are going to bear out that her behavior was so bizarre that she shouldn't have been on a regular unit.
She has achieved a certain amount of notoriety. A landmark suit on behalf of a doctor infected accidentally with HIV, fighting for the victims of a massive fire at the Happy Land Social Club. Her case against a cop accused of killing a Latino man pit her against the entire NYPD.
I intend to cross-examine those cops up at the zoo, and I will have Officer Lavoti on the stand, and I promise you I will tear him apart.
To get ahead, being good wasn't good enough.
How do you feel? It feels great, and it feels great that it's all over. It feels good.
You had to be exceptional. I was going to put myself in a position where I would take on controversy. I wanted to prove myself.
Prove herself because until the Vietnam War, few women went to law school.
67 marked the beginning of masses of women able to get into law schools because the guys didn't have their deferments anymore.
Janice Goodman opened up the first all-women's law firm in 1973.
What we had 30 years ago were a group of very uptight, white, male professionals who did a good job, but for the main part lacked the sensitivity to what the real issues were regarding women's rights.
Karten didn't wait to be named a partner in a man's law firm. She started her own.
You constantly have to be pushing and constantly have to be asking and constantly have to be pushing the glass ceiling a little bit more, pushing the envelope a little bit more, because there is still a lot of discrimination in the workplace.
Yet for all the necessary toughness, sensitivity has propelled her success.
If there was something about you as a woman that makes you want to take on these kinds of cases, what is it?
Protecting people, I feel a strong urge to protect people from injustice. I feel that sometimes ordinary citizens don't have their voice heard.
That means long, late hours and all the challenges modern American working women must face.
Sometimes women had to sacrifice the concept of a personal life altogether.
Karten had sacrificed enough. She married at 40, became a mother at 41.
Mommy,
What?
today in school,
What?
we were like counting down.
And she'll teach her own daughter by example how to handle the juggling act her own mother couldn't have imagined.
I think it's important for her to have a balance. I want her to know that there are choices and that you can be what you want to be and that you can succeed if you really work hard and care about what you do.
Maria Hinojosa, CNN, New York.